Welcome back to the dumbest bill in America. We have with us, of course, Delegate Brian Chisholm. Welcome back, Brian.
Good to be here.
So we're calling this podcast Governor Antifa, Brian. Governor Antifa, you know, like the domestic terrorist organization, because believe it or not, the governor of Maryland, Brian, and podcast listeners, was in his box at the Commanders football game recently with a member who is very famous of Antifa, the domestic terrorist organization. We have a video of that, and here it is.
With Governor Westmore in the governor's suite. Hey, you were telling us that on this jacket it says Governor Westmore, Commander-in-Chief. Tell us what you said a minute ago.
Well, I just wanted to remind people that, you know, because I know the president's coming on board today, but I just want to remind him, say, first of all, Mr. President, welcome back to Maryland. And second of all, in the state of Maryland, I am proud to be the Commander-in-Chief of the Maryland National Guard. So, welcome, Mr. President.
So, Brian, apparently this guy from Antifa, his name is Jolly Ginger. That's what he goes by. He kind of looks like Carter Elliott IV, the governor's press secretary. Yes. Maybe it's the same person. I'm not really sure. But in any event, this Jolly Ginger guy is a member of the domestic terrorist organization. The governor is mocking the president of the United States, who was at the Commanders game. So there's a lot going on here. Thoughts?
Well, what caught my attention first was the screech at the end. It was almost like, I don't think he's been that excited since they threw the first Molotov cocktail into the Portland riots. I mean, it was like, he was excited about that.
He really was. And the thing is, Brian, the governor was wearing his National Guard uniform? Was that what he was wearing? Like military gear or what have you, to show that he's ahead of the National Guard and the president of the United States isn't. But here is what I want the podcast listeners to think about. In the city of Baltimore, crime has been out of control for years. Juvenile crime is completely out of control in the city of Baltimore. And much of the crime isn't even reported because there's so much of it that people have just given up on reporting petty crime, like thefts and so forth. And so people are asking the governor to send in the National Guard to clean up the city of Baltimore, kind of like what the president of the United States has done in Washington, D.C. Yet the governor of Maryland doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to fix the lawlessness, Brian. But at the same time, he wants to hang out with someone from Antifa who's all about lawlessness. I mean, what signal does that send?
He always wants to tell the president, we don't want your help with the safety and security of the Marylanders. We don't want anybody to come in and pick up all the disastrous pieces we put in place in places like Baltimore City, where it is just crime-ridden. It's vacant. It's a scary place to be. Honestly, it is Federal Hill used to be like a place where young people wanted to go. Mm-hmm. People in Federal Hill are picking up their businesses and say, I don't care. I will file bankruptcy. I am out of here. And the governor has the audacity to say, we don't want your help for that. But guess what? When it comes to the Key Bridge and the federal money, come on, please give it to us. Give it to us. Could you think about doing that, Mark, even as a child, to your parents, saying, I don't want you to screw off. I'm in charge here, but I need some money. I mean, that's basically where we are right now. And it is a bad look for this governor. I mean, I think he looks very juvenile when he does things like this. And who is in charge of security in the governor's box? If Antifa, a declared terrorist organization, is allowed in there, not just allowed in there to eat a couple hot dogs and sneak out, to do an interview with the governor of Maryland.
Mm-hmm. He was actually invited, of course, because podcast listeners, the governor, a lot of people don't know this, the governor of Maryland has his own suite at the Commanders Stadium and his own suite at the Ravens Stadium. You can't get in that suite unless you're invited.
That's right.
So imagine the governor of Maryland, like the kind of people you'd want to invite, and as far as I'm concerned, is everyday Marylanders, right? Come on in the suite, we'll do some random drawings and so forth. Hang out with me. Let's talk. Let's find out what's going on in your life and so forth. Oh, no. He invites Antifa. The guy's named Jolly Ginger from Antifa.
Well, we didn't even talk about this, but we should just mark up the Washington Commanders to another fine institution that we ran out of state of Maryland, because the governor's going to lose that box and that suite when they build a new one, because
they're going to put it in D.C.
The Commanders are like, Maryland's too expensive. We're going to D.C. How often does that happen? When D.C. is cheaper than Maryland and they find D.C. to be more friendly than Maryland, that's a sad state of affairs for the state of Maryland. So the governor's going to be stuck at the Ravens boxes, I guess, from now on.
And so, Brian, the governor of Maryland is basically saying to the juveniles in Baltimore City, oh, it's okay to continue to do what you're doing. You know, it's okay to carjack. It's okay to break into cars. It's okay to break in people's houses. It's okay to steal. It's okay to create mayhem because, after all, I'm going to entertain Antifa because that's what they do. They rape, burn, and pillage in American cities and did so throughout the 2020 pandemic and beyond, and still want to do that. It wasn't until the president of the United States got in office and he started saying that they were going to be prosecuted that things, if you've noticed, suddenly got a little quiet from Antifa. And then here's Wes Moore protecting him.
That's right. And it's not
Final thoughts on this.
And it's not like Antifa is like this organization that was falsely accused, or there's some speculation it could be them. They proudly stand up and say, yeah, we burned down Portland, we burned down Minnesota, we burned down Chicago. And then in reaction to that, the government says, come on into the box. A box I'm only going to have for a couple more years because we ran the commanders out. But please come in here and interview me. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, Mark. This is nuts. This is insanity.
It really is. And quite frankly, it's disqualifying. The governor of Maryland, actually, if anything, he should resign over this alone because it makes him wholly disqualified to be hanging out with someone who's part of a domestic terrorist organization. And that's the final word. We'll see you next time.